Athletic Director Brian Santiago told the crowd at Father and Sons camp over the weekend that BYU is playing North Carolina in a men's hoops exhibition game coming up this fall. Dave, what's your reaction to this incredible matchup with one of the blue bloods of the sport?
Love it. Love it. The new rules are that each team gets to play 2 exhibition games. They can be televised. You play who you want. So Nebraska's one over there in Lincoln. Why not North Carolina? It could be Bo Diddley, but BYU and North Carolina decided to get together, stage it up in Salt Lake. It doesn't count, but it does count, right? It gives BYU a chance to go against that kind of talent just maybe a week or so before they go against Villanova on national TV in the season opener on November 3rd. I love it.
Robbie McCombs of Vanquish the Foe is saying it's probably the second exhibition game, so it's anticipated that it's between October 18th and November 3rd. Yeah. Who knows if it's the 24th, 25th in the Delta Center, given how busy that place is now with the Utah Mammoth, Utah Jazz, preseason, early season stuff. But it's hard not to get excited about North Carolina. There's not too many other programs that you could sign BYU up to play and get more excited about. Perhaps Duke's in there, right? But BYU plays in the Big 12 now. They're playing the Kansas and Houstons of the world, which is awesome. This is exciting. There's a little history with North Carolina. Notably, I'm thinking back to the year 2007 when BYUtv, we went down to the Orleans. We didn't know that would be our second home with the WCC tournament in a couple years. BYU upsets number 6 Louisville live on BYUtv, which was a lot of fun. The next day, they play UNC and compete really well and lose to Tyler Hansbrough and the Heels. But here we are in 2025 with the Cougars playing UNC. I think it's great because last year, not only was the exhibition setup different, you had the secret scrimmage, which BYU was playing, Stanford and Cal the last couple of years. Now you can play a public game where you can keep the revenue. Not to mention the interest on TV is going to be good. UNC, of course, down a little bit last year. Last team into the field for March Madness. BYU into the Sweet 16. But this is exciting. And Kevin Young said last year in season, he was like, we got to play a tougher non-conference schedule, which I appreciate his frankness. He doesn't beat around the bush. Just, this is what it is. Now BYU is going to challenge themselves because as we take a look at the reported non-conference schedules, some of these are published, we know. Others are reported. So let's walk through what we know so far. Exhibition at Nebraska, October 18th. Exhibition against North Carolina, that's TBD in the Delta Center. The Hall of Fame series against Villanova in the season opener November 3rd in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 2 of these 3 in Orlando at a multi-team event. Dayton, Miami, Georgetown. Around Thanksgiving. Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden versus Clemson. Delaware reported December 11th. We have that from John Rothstein and Robbie McCombs. Robbie McCombs also reporting Eastern Washington, December 22nd. So there's 6 games there, regular season, plus 2 exhibitions. So 7 to go. They moved back to 18 league games, not 20. So we're going to get 13 non-conference games, Dave. So 7 to go. How are you feeling about kind of how many quad 1, quad 2 type games BYU has, and do you want to add any more?
You can see the formula there to, one, prepare your team for the Big 12, to also keep your team nationally relevant. BYU will start that way in the top 25 as opposed to try to fight their way in midway through the Big 12 season. And so the starting spot is going to be different. I kind of like it if they have 7 games left to fill, and there's talk of Wisconsin maybe at the Delta Center. Okay, let that be the next, and really that could be the last of the big fish. And then you give me 6 or 7 quad 2s, give them most at home. There's no reason to go on the road and play someone in a non-neutral setting. I think BYU's kind of figured that out the last few years, and it's worked for them. They went to Providence and realized last year they were not prepared. And so,
Providence didn't end up being great. They were 100 in net.
But so they've gone it, and they've done it this way. I don't think they need to add another big one. That's a lot already. Already the toughest
5
in school history.
Yeah,
and
quad
again,
1,
those
quad 2.
2 exhibition games don't count. They're practice games.
So Nova, Dayton, Miami, Georgetown, 2 of those 3, Clemson, and then potentially Wisconsin. Again, that's Robbie McCombs saying that BYU is in talks to have Wisconsin at the Delta Center.
That's enough. That's enough to actually have the toughest in program history when you throw in what's coming with the Big 12. And it seems like almost every team
100%.
in the Big 12 just got better and they were already
Somebody's
good
getting
last
worse.
year. We'll ask Sean Farnham what he thinks about this. Yeah, somebody's got to lose.
Somebody's got to get worse. Come on.
But I was thinking, too, a couple years ago when BYU was #1 in the net, and we kind of made a big deal about that because that had never happened before.
Hang a banner, yeah.
It was like, how did they get to the #1 in the net? They beat number 17 San Diego State at home. Then they went to Vegas and won a couple of neutral site games against unranked teams, but they were Arizona State, North Carolina State.
We didn't realize that NC State would make the Final Four that year.
No, we
they
didn't.
did. They went on a crazy run later.
They were,
yes.
So those were the big three, and they won them, and then they pounded everybody else and played good doing it. So now all of a sudden they're the #1 net in the country before they go up to Salt Lake and get beat. And the net's just one of the indicators. We get it, but when you're #1 in the net, you take notice.
It is a big deal. It's the sorting tool for the committee.
Then they hold their own in the Big 12. And they get a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. They lost to Duquesne, which was a disaster, but they got the 6th seed. So Kevin Young wants to go to the Final Four. That's the goal of this team.
Yeah.
Can this kind of a non-conference slate, and then you go to the Big 12, you hold your own, you contend. Now you're in a seed that has you on the path to the Final Four, where you don't have to, play a 2 seed the second day or the 3 seed.
Coming into the Big 12, I felt like, wow, BYU does not need to schedule non-conference tough because the Big 12 is super tough. Certainly last year was, frankly, just a half step backwards. They were the #3 league in America. Let's be honest, that's still awesome. This is a new, exciting venture for BYU. Cougars have finished, 3rd a couple years in a row, which is incredible. So I think Kevin Young and this program have appropriate big eyes. They feel like they have a great team. Everyone's validating that, too. So why not load up and see what you are? You don't want to load up too much, though. There's probably a point of diminishing returns where, okay, it was too tough in non-conference. Now we're kind of beat up and whatever going into conference, and that is really tough in the Big 12. But I think BYU is finding the sweet spot. They've got, 4 quad 1, quad 2 type games right now. I like the Wisconsin game a lot. That's a really, really good one. That's probably your best opponent on the schedule, if you get that one. I would be up for one more quad 2 type, and then the rest are quad 3 and 4. Probably home games that you cook some fools on, and you can use the bench and develop. But you have a good squad. You know that there's interest in your team. BYU's probably being asked by networks, do you want to line up this game with this team? That's what happens in this. When you have AJ Dybantsa and a team like this, teams come calling. Series come calling, right? Hey, we want you in Madison Square Garden playing Clemson. We want you in Orlando playing Dayton, Miami, or Georgetown. We want you in Vegas playing Villanova. We want North Carolina in a 2-game series. Think about what is happening here with BYU basketball and the desire nationally to see them play and compete. I'm excited about it. Before Selection Sunday last year, the BYU had played 16 quad 1 games in league, regular season and conference tournament, 7 quad 2s. So it's going to be tough in league, plus these. I think we're probably 1 or 2 games away from probably being like, all right, just give me some quad 3s and quad 4s at this point, and then we move on.
Love the 2 exhibition games going into Villanova. And if BYU goes to Vegas and pounds Villanova, then the rest of the country will go, oh, they're supposed to be good. Oh, they are that good. And then you just go, okay, at Madison Square Garden, you have a chance to go to the East Coast and go, yeah, we are. Orlando, the Floridians, you go down there? Yes, yeah, we are.
That game's for Greg Kite in Orlando.
And I imagine he'll be there.
Yep.
The bummer is these big games aren't coming to the Marriott Center, but BYU's not taking their big games into other teams' places either. Those days are over, and it's just nice to have a big arena nearby where you can shift those. And for the fan, they're like, wow, why isn't North Carolina coming here? We're getting ripped. You got all those Big 12 teams coming. That answers that. It didn't used to be that way. Now it is.
And I'm sure Ryan's going, yeah, come to the Delta Center.
Come on up.
And then I would imagine BYU goes to Charlotte next year. I don't know that. That makes sense.